The Countdown Conspiracy, Chapter 6, Part 1. Okay, we're teaming up. Lizzie claps her hands together, looking devilishly around the gym at all of us. Our first week has come and gone, and today our mentors asked us to join them for a special training before dinner, but refused to give details. I'm really close to being done with Ruby's reassembly and had planned on using the time before dinner to finish her, but when Lizzie Donaldson asked me to be somewhere, I can't say no. Each of you must learn to work perfectly in sync with one another if you are to be a successful unit, Krushkov says. Today, you will act in teams of 3 in order to complete a challenge Lizzie and I designed. Around us and overhead, there's a whole mess of ropes and pipes dangling from the ceiling in loops and knots. Tied up among them are various pieces of mechanical equipment. I glance at Najma, who is glancing at me. I try to casually step closer to her and Esteban, mentally willing our mentors to group us together. What is the goal? Anna asks. To build a basic station hatch door, Lizzie explains. Without your feet ever touching the gym floor, Krushkov adds. Touch the floor, and you'll be disqualified. My stomach clenches at that. Will it be timed? Tamaki asks. What does the winning team get? Anna asks at the same exact moment. My athleticism is very ground-based. Running, jumping, that I can handle. Climbing? I fiddle with Ruby's flashcard. You'll be fine. Remember, you passed all the ISECG's physical examinations. You will be timed, but the team that completes their door faster is not necessarily the winner, Krushkov answers. The door that seals most securely to its frame will win. Rahim is nodding next to Esteban, but Esteban looks puzzled. Time won't factor in at all? He asks. I didn't say that, Krushkov replies mysteriously. Anna frowns, but I've already spotted the tube of epoxy sealant, and I think I know what Krushkov is getting at. Assembling the materials will require us to pay attention to the time, because if we don't move quickly enough, the sealant will harden before the pieces are all in place. Not going to lie, I'm more than ready to rub that discovery in Anna's face if she somehow loses and I win. Okay, Lizzie brings our attention back after we all start murmuring to each other about how we're going to do this. Team Antares is Esteban, Najma, and I step closer to them. Rahim. My heart drops. And Team Spica consists of Miranda, Anna, and Tamaki. Krushkov gestures for us to group up. You'll have 5 minutes to plan before we start. Good luck, Lizzie smiles, and I fight back the protest that's building inside of me. Anna doesn't look any happier than I feel. Meanwhile, Tamaki stretches lazily, sauntering away from us. You two lucked out, he says. If I could have picked anyone to be on my team, I would have picked me too. Mein Gott, Anna mutters. What did I do to deserve this? The two of us follow Tamaki over to the spot on the gym floor marked in blue for Spica's star color, and I set my shoulders, determined not to let my teammates intimidate me. Building things is what I'm best at, and if we're going to win, I know my help will be critical. The ISECG picked us all for a reason. This one has to be mine. Okay, I say. First, let's make a list of what we need to collect. Lists are a waste of time, Tamaki interrupts me. I work better when I can improvise. Just grab all the best pieces and I'll figure out how to use them once we've got them. What we need to do is make a schematic of the door plan, Anna says. From there, we can... Anna, I already know how to make the door, I say. Her eyes flash at me. It's super easy. We just need to get the appropriate supplies and make sure not to miss any. We're going to miss out on the good stuff if we waste time making lists and drawing stuff, Tamaki says. Then he points. Look, let's start by getting that big piece over there before the other team grabs it. That'll cut down on our assembly time. Not if that piece doesn't fit with anything else. I try not to roll my eyes. Tamaki is supposed to be the hotshot solar car engineer. How can he not understand organizing? We should be looking for parts of equal size with interlocking fittings. If we're smart about which supplies we collect, we won't let our weakest link take charge of this mission, Anna says. Oh, ho, Tamaki laughs, raising a hand to high-five Anna. She doesn't take him up on the offer. Listen, I half-growl, determined not to let my first real chance to prove myself pass me by. Just because I haven't been as fast as you two with our quizzes doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about here. Engineering is what I do. It's also what Tamaki does, and planning is what I do, Anna says. We need to establish team roles to operate efficiently. I will organize the mission. Tamaki will be lead designer, since he ranks higher than you in class. You will build what we tell you to and try not to get in our way. Sounds good to me, Tamaki says, as long as both of you stay out of my way when I'm gathering supplies. I don't need anyone showing me down. I open and shut my mouth, trying to find the words to respond. My eyes land on Lizzie, and I wonder if I can ask her to step in and make my team listen. But then Anna's talking again. Going to pout to the teacher? She asks. I flush. No. You two ready to trounce Team Antares? Tamaki asks before I can come up with a better argument. Looks like Kreshkov is about to tell us to start. Sure enough, Kreshkov clears his throat, drawing our attention back to the center of the gym. I sat my shoulders. Okay, teams, Kreshkov says. We all change our stances, eyeing which ropes above we're going to grab to haul ourselves up. Challenge begins. Your feet need to be off the floor and up in the ropes in 3, 2, 1. We jump into the air, pulling ourselves up into the artificial jungle of supplies. Ever the show-off, Tamaki does a backflip, dangling from his rope and grabbing another before moving toward that big chunk of door he talked about earlier. Anna goes for the digital draft paper, and I'm paralyzed for a moment, still unsure what I can possibly do for a team who doesn't seem to care if I'm on it or not. Then I spy a small control panel about the size of a dinner plate, with a wire sticking out the back. Where are you going? Anna demands as I haul myself embarrassingly slowly toward the panel. I really wish this challenge didn't involve climbing. Out of the corner of my eye, I spy Tamaki ripping the door chunk out of its ropes just before Raheem gets to it. Team Spica for the win, Raheem, he taunts before heading back to Anna. He snatches the epoxy sealant on his way and some rubber hosing and hardware, so I have to begrudgingly admit that his improvisation technique probably does work for him. Anna begins scribbling on her paper, giving up on me entirely with an audible scoff. That's fine by me. Better to make the panel on my own and just add it in when they finish. Oh, hey, I hear Esteban. I turn and he's giving me a huge smile. Nice idea, Miranda. He gestures to the piece of equipment I'm untangling. Thanks, I say, wishing even harder that before that I'd been put on the other team. I get to work on my own project, not bothering to go back to Anna and Tamaki as they start their door. Without me to focus on, Anna's full attention is on Tamaki, and their bickering gets so loud Kreshkov actually has to go over to remind them that they're meant to be working together. Looks like Lizzie got the job telling me the same. Miranda, she calls up from the gym floor below. This is meant to be a team-building exercise. Yeah, well, my team voted me off, I say, using wire strippers. To get some clean points of connection between two wires I need to reroute. First of all, they can't do that, she says next. And second, things are devolving pretty quickly without you there to mediate. Anna shrieks, draw my attention. Idiot! Now these pieces are stuck permanently. It's not my fault. Tamaki squeezes the tube of sealant so hard I'm worried it's going to burst. I thought Miranda would be back to add the frame support, but she's off doing her own thing. Team Antares stares incredulously in our direction, and my face reddens. Then you're both responsible for making us fail, Anna glares. We are going to lose. I refuse to be held accountable for your mistakes. That's enough, Kreshkov tries to intervene. But that last comment clearly pushes Tamaki over the edge. My mistakes? Do you even know who you're talking to? I'm Matsuo Tamaki. I don't make mistakes. I make things happen. If you would bother to help instead of bossing us all around, I can't take this anymore. Guys! I yell over, twisting the wires I was working on together. Hey! Stop it! I'll come help. Just hold on a sec. Below me, Lizzie smiles. You're making a very mature decision right now, Miranda. Very proud of you. As annoyed at all of this as I am, Lizzie's words do warm the cold attitude I'd been letting control me. I tuck the panel under one arm, reach out for a rope to pull myself over, and miss. Losing balance, I tumble out of the mess of ropes and land on the gym floor. A loud echo of my fall sounds around the room, and my back seriously smarts as I lay there. Stunned. The control panel is in my grip, luckily not broken, but the rules were not to touch the gym floor. Anna breaks the silence. Way to go. Lizzie and Kreshkov rush over to check if I'm okay, which I am, at least as okay as I can be now that I'm disqualified from the challenge. Tamaki groans, and if my body wasn't still in shock, I would run as far away from everyone as I could. Team Antares won, which was no surprise to anyone other than perhaps Anna. When we got back to the dorms just before shutting herself in her room, she muttered something about how she would have won if she had been allowed to do the challenge on her own. Funny, that's exactly how I feel, but instead, I once again look like the failure of the group. I set down my soldering iron and take off my goggles to wipe at my face. Everything is so backward here. I've never been the worst before, and while I've certainly had challenges making friends in the past, I've never had this much trouble doing group work for school. Usually I just do it all, and everyone's happy with that. But here, I take a deep, determined breath. At least there's one part of my normal life I can bring back. Ruby's red outer casing shines from the far side of the table, and I reach for the next piece, cracking my knuckles and continuing with my task. Sasha once said Ruby looked like a giant crab with a sledgehammer sticking out of its back. Ugh, sledgehammer. Like Ruby's optical unit is anywhere near as heavy as that. Besides, Ruby has 10 legs that can each rotate up into arms rather than just the front two. So, not like a crab at all. After I finally get her casing in place, I untie her flashcard from around my neck. It's kind of weird not having it there anymore, but Ruby needs it back now. I insert the card, close up the covering over it, and take Ruby off her charge pad. Each of her optic sensors has a tiny white light blinking inside, letting me know she's charged. I connect 2 plugs on the back of her wiring column. The lights stop blinking and stay on. I hold my breath. Ruby, movement check, I say. Ruby bobs her head in acknowledgement of the command. Her 5 legs on her right side ripple, then the 5 on the left. Then she rears up on her back legs, leaving the front ones to spin and rotate, each reaching out in turn from side to side. She scoots around in a circle on her hind legs. Her head swivels. Her wire column bends left, then right, then forward, then backward. Finally, she lands back on all 10 feet, gives another head bob, and sends a message via my droidlet. Task complete, waiting for instruction. I gather the robot up in my arms and give her a gentle hug. Oh, Ruby, it's good to have you back. Programmed to copy what I do and say, my mechbot wraps her front limbs around me. My droidlet pings once more. Good to have you back.